Good evening and welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I am Tamiru Nimsan. Let's have a look at the headlines. Foreign debt restructuring process will be finalized by December, President says. Startup ecosystem to be used for the economic revival, State Minister reveals. News in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that the bilateral negotiations with the external creditors have reached the final stages and expected to conclude in December. The President also stressed that in order to overcome the bankruptcy and reach economic growth, some unpopular yet necessary decisions has to be made. The President made these revelations at the post-budget forum held in Colombo yesterday.
First, stabilize the economy and reconstruct the economy. To do that, you can't do it in a budget, no. The first was coming to an agreement with the IMF last year. In September, after doing so, I made the first statement in the House. Second was the budget of last year. We've come to the last stages of the bilateral negotiations. We have got responses from everyone, including China, and we hope when they sit in December this year that there will be positive results. We have to live within our means, this government or next government or government after that. And that's what we want to introduce. However difficult it is to tell the country this is what you have to do. It may be unpopular, but you have to do it. You have to take a lot of unpopular decisions. But it's going more than that. The speech I made and the proposals I made is not merely about stabilizing the economy. It is the new economy that we are going to reconstruct. And I will deal mainly with that, leaving the technical issues to the ST. We have to look out. Some say this is election budget. This is more a budget for a new economy in which the people have benefited. You had to give a pay increase to the government servants. I would have liked to have given more, but I am not in a position to do so. Even this we have to start paying gradually after the first 3 months. To give the pensioners, you must realize how difficult it is for people to live. You know that in your own places. As far as the private sector is concerned, I think it's up to you because some of you have already made adjustments.
The State Minister of Technology, Kanaka Herath, said that the government is planning to increase the revenue of the startup ecosystem up to $1 billion next year. The State Minister said this at a press conference to inaugurate the Global Entrepreneurial Week at the Presidential Media Centre on Monday.
The Sri Lankan startup ecosystem is growing rapidly. The Startup Genome Report estimates the value of Sri Lankan startup ecosystem at $244 million USD, and we are poised to grow it to $1 billion USD by 2030. We are also seeing a more diverse startup ecosystem with startups from all over the country emerging with innovative solutions. For example, in the recent Southern and Central region tech summits, which I happened to be at last week, we saw companies with great potential. Technology startups are also having a significant impact on Sri Lankan economy and society. They are changing the way we transact, buy our groceries, pay our bills, do our banking, and interact with each other. My ministry is committed to creating a conducive environment for startups to thrive. We are working on a number of initiatives under the DigiCon 2030 roadmap, including development startup ecosystem development strategy, which will include startup mindset creation, establishing of incubators and accelerators to connection to angel investors, global market accesses, and venture funding. Collaborating with Ministry of Industries and the Ministry of Technology to develop district-wise programs to facilitate connections between digital providers and SMEs.
Speaking at the event, the Secretary to the Ministry of Industries said that the government has expedited the efforts to promote the spirit of entrepreneurship among the nation's youth through the school system.
As Honorable Minister mentioned, the Ministry of Industry is always working together with the Ministry of Technology to promote this very good concept among the youth generation. And also I want to mention that the entrepreneurship is very important for developing among the youth generation, especially the Ministry of Industries. We are always interested in to inculcate the entrepreneurship culture in Sri Lanka. We all know that among the labor force, Honorable Minister, we know that entrepreneurship is around 2.8% among the workforce. So the Ministry of Industries, we have the goal to increase this entrepreneurship up to 10% by 2030. So among the younger generation, especially the digitalization and the digital economy is very important, and SME contribution to the economy is around 52%. The ministry, we are always trying to enhance the entrepreneurship, and based on that, the Ministry of Industries, we introduced that entrepreneurship circles, that we started to establish the entrepreneurship circles in the schools. Within the schools, that the entrepreneurship circle, we already established 300 entrepreneurship circle in this year up to now. Next year, we are planning to establish 5,000 entrepreneurship circles in the schools.
Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. In response to the persistent and damaging defamatory statements made by Sports and Youth Affairs Minister Roshan Ranasinghe, Sri Lanka Cricket has taken a step to protect its reputation and integrity. According to a local newspaper, the President, Vice President and Treasurer of Sri Lanka Cricket jointly filed a defamation lawsuit in the District Court of Colombo on the 13th of this month. The trio is seeking damages amounting to 2.4 billion rupees on behalf of Sri Lanka Cricket. They claim the continuous dissemination of false and harmful statements by the Minister of Sports has caused substantial harm to the image of Sri Lanka Cricket both domestically and internationally. A media release said that Sri Lanka Cricket, represented by its top leadership, is committed to upholding transparency, accountability and fair play in all its endeavours. It said that the legal action aims to rectify the unwarranted damage inflicted on Sri Lanka Cricket's standing in the sporting community. The Executive Committee of Sri Lanka Cricket had said that this step is necessary to safeguard the reputation of the organisation and its members. Sri Lanka Cricket had also said that it remains focused on promoting the spirit of the game, fostering a positive environment for players, officials and fans alike. Sri Lanka Cricket had further said that it will continue to prioritise the best interests of the sport and its supporters while navigating through these legal proceedings. Chairman of the Raigam Group of Companies, Dr. Ravi Liyanage, announces that his first ever cinema production, Kadira Divyaraja, has earned 275 million rupees in its first 100 days of screening. Addressing a media briefing in Colombo last evening, Dr. Liyanage said that a Sinhala language mythological movie starring Indian and Sri Lankan artists has already renewed the cinema industry record books with remarkable revenue for the industry. The film, written and directed by senior professor Sunil Aryaratne, depicting the romantic relationship between Hindu god Kartikeya and local princess Valli, has been a blessing to the 75-year-old Sri Lankan cinema industry, which has been stagnating in doldrums, giving it some relief. Introducing a new concept to the marketing field, Raigam Group's chairman Dr. Ravi Liyanage promoted his one of the products, Raigam Devaniyaka, simultaneously with the movie. He said that with the commencement of screening the film Kadira Divyaraja in 75 centres throughout the country, every weekend show was houseful and it will also be screened another 50 to 60 shows at selected cinema halls.
ලක්ෂ 50 100 150 200 නැවතුණා චිත්‍රපට. ඒ කියන්නේ ලක්ෂයක්වත් බලලා නැහැ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන්
Most of the movies ran up to the revenue level of 100 or 200,000 rupees. Normally, the average ticket value is around 375 rupees or 400 rupees. The exact amount differs with the facilities of the cinema halls. If 100,000 watched the movie, the revenue should go up to 40 million rupees. In such a situation, we were capable of attracting around 750,000 audience to the cinema halls. We have received an amount of record-breaking 275 million rupees in a period of 100 days. As I personally know, this is the highest income from a movie within the period of last 10 years. And we are still screening the movie. There are a lot of cinema hall owners and managers here. They suggest me to run the show another 30 or 45 days. Anyway, it would run around another 2 to 3 weeks. It will be shown another 50 to 60 shows at some selected cinema halls.
අපිට දර්ශනවාර 50 60ක් වෙන් කරලා තියෙනවා.
The Colombo Fashion Week, celebrating its 20th year, announced the dates for the second edition of the year, the Luxury Resort Wear Edition, as the December season approaches. Accordingly, the Luxury Sportswear edition of the Colombo Fashion Week is scheduled to be held on the 29th and the 30th of this month. This announcement was made at a press conference held in Colombo yesterday. As part of the milestone, the Colombo Fashion Week had also expanded its e-footprint to India in order to provide a platform for Sri Lankan designers. The CFW said that this project will further be extended to Singapore and London by the first half of 2024. The CFW also said that selected Sri Lankan designers with relevance to those markets will be selected to showcase on the CFW system.
What we have done in the last 20 years, we've created an ecosystem where a young kid, when he comes out of school or from university, he can now dream of going into design. He can dream of going into design entrepreneurship. So which way we are headed now is actually creating a soft power for Sri Lanka, especially when the season and the door for tourism is opening, where more tourists are coming in. Creative industry plays a very important role. And for creative industry, it plays an important role in design entrepreneurship, craftsmanship, and also for when tourists come, it kind of influences them and it makes the destination far more attractive.
Stay tuned for stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. The all share price index dropped 61.57 points to close at 10,662.08 and the S&P SL20 dropped 14.98 points to close at 3,011.74. The turnover was 1 billion rupees and over 68 million shares were traded. Up next are forex rates. That's all our news for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook.